Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from deep profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. He conquers the markets, he turns water into wine. His timing flows where chaos turns divine. Cut sharp enough to time the sign. Yeah, this man's no common trader. He commands the market's numbers. We call him Chef Bailey. The market bends beneath his flame. Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from deep profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. Markets move, they twist and swing. Every tick can burn or blink. Ryan keeps calm, he trusts his thing. The charts tell him everything. But when T1 makes ding, 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 the futures spread their hidden wing. And he is ready for anything. Vic's still looking like a restless king.
Ready to stop guessing and start growing as a trader. Welcome to Vici Trading Solutions, a community built by real traders for serious learners. We don't just post trades, we teach the why behind every move. With a full education section and daily breakdowns, you'll start seeing the market like a pro. You won't be trading alone. Inside the Vici Discord, you're surrounded by committed traders, from futures pros to rising crypto specialists, all learning and winning together. Gain first access to our exclusive indicators, powerful tools used daily by hundreds across TradingView and beyond. These aren't gimmicks, they're built to sharpen your edge. Each morning, our founder posts a full trading plan for the S&P 500 or NASDAQ and calls out the levels he's watching live. No fluff, just clarity. Education, tools, community. Whether you trade futures, stock, or crypto, Vici gives you the foundation and firepower to grow. Join Vici, trade smarter, conquer the markets.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Happy Thursday. We get another extended weekend, so happy 4th of July if you don't see me before Sunday when we get to do the weekend review. Another crazy day. Today was crazy. We had, for the first time, we had some red tag news that was big time. We had the ADP, non-farm payroll, and we had hourly earnings, which is also always big. These are just numbers that we do once a month. And so, we expected some volatility as we talked about this yesterday. But let me tell you what, they shook it up on us for sure. So the trade plan played pretty well today, but my gracious, these moves were absolutely insane. And we're going to get right into it. So let's go ahead and have some fun, shall we? So first and foremost, before we get started, as usual, guys, make sure that you go ahead and smash that subscribe and like button if you're liking the content I'm putting out here. Obviously, help me, help your friends, help all that good stuff. We are making history over here, people, so good stuff. I can't wait to share exactly what's going to happen, with coming up. I'm excited because, we got the dump we were looking for yesterday, and I think a lot of people really, were looking for this as well. And hopefully we're going to get a little pullback. So share this with some people. We're going to get some alpha here. And I think next week's going to be a little bit spicy for us. So I'm excited. So follow across YouTube, X, Substack, and TradingView. Make that happen. Smash that like button. And let's go ahead and get right into it. All right. So let's going to go ahead and start with the trade plan title as usual, guys. The 75-73 breakout. So we've got the three pivots, the same three pivots that we've talked about for some time. 75-73 breakout ceiling, the 75-27 true midpoint pivot, and then of course the floor, which we're going to talk about. I actually made a slide just to go into the pivots. And actually, before I get started, let me say hello to Jim O'Donnell, and then of course there's regular Jim, and then PK, Bryce, and Van Nugent. Always a pleasure, guys. Good to see you today. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. We come into the morning, we're holding the 75.27 all night, drifting sideways and accepting value, which is a huge indication that we could be building for a push higher. I got to tell you, this was a tricky day today. It really was. I mean, it was one of those days where we really looked like, I have been down all week long, as you guys know. And this morning, it really looked like we were just going to take off higher as we had this massive smack at the highs yesterday, and they just couldn't send it lower. And that's what basically I was trying to put it to convey to people this morning, that we continue to balance sideways from yesterday's action, where we took a huge smack from the high at 75.73. Exactly as called, targeting the low of 75.27 perfectly. It was a beautiful trade yesterday. It is my belief that if this smack from the highs yesterday was going to send this market down, it would have done so yesterday in the cash session or in the overnight Globex. And this is exactly what I talked about yesterday, not only in the plan here, but also in the post-market breakdown yesterday and in the room. In fact, they held the 75.27, continued to move sideways in a balanced fashion, which leads me to believe that we have a real possibility of moving higher today. We are still in negative gamma, and we have technically not gained on the daily. So you guys know how I feel about that. Obviously, not gaining on the daily is a big deal for me, as that's my controlling time frame. But we ended up taking that huge hit yesterday, and they just couldn't send it down. And I'm like, I'm a little torn here, as you guys know. And we actually are going to talk about SPX here shortly, where we came into that as well yesterday, and it came into the trade plan today. So the framework is simple. 75.73 daily leg down is the massive area ultimately preventing us from making new all-time highs. As long as we stay below it, we feel some suppression. I wrote depression. Guess I wasn't feeling too good. We're going to feel some suppression, okay? And that is really the kicker for us. As you guys know, the 75.73 has been the big one. We've been trying to short this for 2 solid days. That's this red and blue line right here. And it's been working. Every time we come up to it, we get a nice little smack. And so it was clear that if we were to push above it, we would break out, just like you see here. And then if we get below it, we fall, just like you see here. So let's go ahead and get into the next slide. All right, so VIX is pretty cool today. This was a great call actually at the lows today. It was really awesome. We had the 17.19, 17.44 midpoint pivot. We're coming to the morning, suppressed once again, sitting directly in the middle of yesterday's range. It is above the 16.20 monthly. This is where we were at this morning as I was writing this right here. It's above the 16.20 monthly, but below the 17.44 monthly and this weekly, which is the midpoint pivot. We'll continue to use this monthly weekly area as our big above below, which is right up here, okay? So I'm calling it our midpoint pivot. The headwind scenario, as we come up to the 17.44, we're going to start to feel some pressure on the indices. I think that was pretty apparent today. Same thing from yesterday. We actually opened way up here today, and we were falling all morning. As we came in, we were about right here or so. Actually, we were right here when I was writing. And then we ended up coming down. But here's the good stuff, right? You ready? And this is the last paragraph, is the one I'm really proud of. With the current price below 17.19 weekly and the 44 monthly, VIX stays extremely suppressed. I think that's pretty fair scenario. We've seen it smack both 2 days ago or yesterday, fell from it overnight, and then once again, even again today. But here's the good part. If we make new lows from yesterday, VIX could be primed for a pop, as it is a natural market reaction for VIX to balance things when fear gets a little too complacent. So check that out. This is where I wrote this. We come down, we held the low, we swept the low. Next thing you know, we basically swept for liquidity, failed breakdown, whatever you want to call it, liquidity sweep, it doesn't matter. And then we pushed right back into the 17.19, almost to the tick, which is our midpoint pivot. So that was cool. Love to see that play out like that. And obviously, once we start to get back over that 16.20, we start to feel the pressure today on the downside, which was pretty apparent. So let's go ahead and get into the next slide. So this has actually happened before the market opened, and my man Bryce, who's in this chat right now, he was actually able to catch this. This is our 75.72. This happened right before the market opened. This is what I thought was a fantastic short. And we had basically the short setup was watch for 75.72 to play and get back below 75.68 before engaging the short. The first target is 57, yesterday's point of control, and then lower. As you can see, we played the point of control for perfectly. It didn't get much lower than that, but it was a great first target and honestly paid, I think, 20 points right off the rip. So that was a good way to start the day if you were primed up for that. So, all right, let's get into the next one. So here is SPX. Now, this was really interesting, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more because I mentioned something in the beginning about how we have made multiple attempts to try to close above the 75.01 and couldn't get the job done. And this is the same thought that I put into ES this morning. And I got to be frank, we'll get into it here shortly, but they pulled the okie doke, right? It kind of tricked us a little bit, or at least tricked me this morning. And I'll tell you why. So here's the deal. The SPX smacked the 75.20 perfectly yesterday. Here it was. It came back below the massive daily leg at 75.01. The big level we discussed time and time again. The fact that they have now had 2 attempts to close above 75.01 and couldn't gives me a slight tinge of hesitation that we could rotate down. Isn't that wild, right? So the process is telling me, hey, they can't gain. So this whole pop-up here was just basically fugazi. Now, I'm going to show you a picture of the daily chart here soon. So here's the thing. The overnight hold suggests a truly worthy smack would have already sent us lower, right? So you can already see I'm like, my process says we haven't gained, but we're still holding. Above us sits 75.01 and the big make it or break it daily. Push above it, we traverse immediately to 75.20 daily. Well, this is where we opened at 75.01 and we pushed immediately right up to the 75.20 daily. Tested many times and break above 75.20 can break out another 50 or 60 points. Well, it wasn't exactly 50 or 60, but it was 20 points through the 75.20 as we ended up pushing higher in what seemed to me like a very firm buyer-controlled extension, right? So it was very interesting because I didn't have any resistance for quite some time moving higher in both SPX and ES. So it was really interesting turn there, in my opinion. So here we go. So as long as we stay, I don't know why it says it like that. As long as we're under 75.01, we stay suppressed. This market goes nowhere but down. The SPX midpoint pivot is yesterday's low of 74.78. It's this green level right here. This green level, I forgot to circle it. Sorry about that. 74.78. And below it, we can come substantially lower through the tested daily at 74.38 and into our untested major support at 74.20 that you can say they didn't actually get. But here we go. So we had this amazing rally right off the gate. As you guys know, we came screaming out of the hole, past 01, past 20, and then we came back down. Now, I'll just shoot you straight. I tried to buy this on the way down. I figured if we're going to continue to push higher, let's just keep going. I'll buy the first pullback. And of course, they got me. That was my first loss of the day. I really thought we were going to continue this carry forward higher. Like I said, I was really under the impression that, if they were going to slam this, they would have done it yesterday. But I still had this weird feeling. I'm like, they can't gain. But I thought if we're going to continue this off from this aggressive push, that'll be it. As you can see, they ended up coming down and actually back testing the 75.20 and then got back below the 75.01. We kind of held the 74.78 area a little bit. We swept yesterday's low, and then they basically just moved much lower below this, just like I was saying was the floor over here. Below it, we come substantially lower underneath the 78 area, which it actually fell pretty good distance here, almost 50 points. So that was quite the move down here. And really, it just had to do with getting back below our significant spot here at 75.20 and ultimately 75.01. So kind of a big deal here, guys. I mean, I got to tell you, this was quite the pump fake. They come back up and then they just shredded on everybody. So broke some ankles today. Mine was certainly one of them on this trade right here. So I'm willing to admit that. This is the other thing that actually, let me pull this over. Let's do this one first. Here is the daily. Now, we've talked about this multiple times. We have brought this up both in the room and also in the stream here. And I kept saying, like, this is what I was talking about. This is today. So let's not talk about that for now. But let's just look at these 2 days. They had the ability to push through 75.01, could not close higher. The second day, we pushed all the way to 20, could not close higher. And so the third day, and mind you, at the time of writing, this candle did not exist, right? And so I'm looking at it like, man, this thing just cannot gain. And then we end up taking off above 75.20. And as you can see, we still ended the day below 75.01, which is our main leg down. This is so soft, you guys. In my opinion, this market is primed to come down. And I think that is probably what we will see next week as we have made another daily and 4-hour leg down that is basically setting us up for a dump. Because if they can't gain 75.01, and I've said this multiple times, we will end up coming all the way down here, guys, below 7,300, basically. Now, the path in which they're going to take, I don't know. But what I can tell you is they don't gain this 75.01, and they've had 3 attempts. Count them, three times this week. Unbelievable. And they failed all 3 times, and they just lost on the 4-hour time frame as well. We are definitely back to pointing to the downside, in my opinion. So we'll see. Also, another really interesting thing, and this kind of goes outside the conversation, but I just looked up. Look at this weekly range for this week. Isn't that wild? We went basically from where we smacked almost to 99, and then we, back to, essentially where we closed at the previous week, all the way up to where the high of that. It's just the entire range was just wild when I looked up. I just thought, wow, what an interesting area for us to be contained in. So anyways, I know that's kind of out of context. It was, whatever. So here's the other thing I wanted to show you guys. This was strictly from the trade plan. As you guys know, we had the above below here on the TPO. It was basically below yesterday's point of control is when we start to lose it. That was 58, guys, 58, okay? And so that is essentially, that was under, the point of control. Exactly. I'm just looking here on my chart, which was obviously underneath the big daily at 73 and underneath the 4-hour at 68. That pushes us down to clean up this excess. Well, as you can see today, we came down and did exactly that. We were able to grab the excess all the way from this day on Tuesday, which is interesting because we actually talked about this yesterday in the post-market breakdown. I thought it was interesting that they came down and they didn't end up cleaning this up. And then we launched up. And so yet today we actually cleaned up not one day, but both days worth of excess and market inefficiencies. Once again, finally, that they're starting to clean things up and really starting to turn this back into a market as we can get some rotation and clean up a lot of the inefficiencies that we've created on this push up. So very happy about that. Really happy that worked out. Super excited about that. So let's go ahead and go into the next one. So I want to show you the second trade. So I'm just going to keep it real with you guys. I mean, I don't hide anything. I'm super transparent. I had a red day. Okay. It's my second one this week. I'm not real happy about it. I actually have done some thinking about it, and we have had a ton of new people come into the room. I mean, ridiculous amount of new people come in the room. I was literally working and getting people into the room as the bell was ringing today. And I have decided that I just do a little too much talking and too much working. So, everybody loves to be entertained and all this good stuff, but I have decided to shift things up a little bit. Everybody's here to be entertained, but people prefer to make money. That's the draw, right? So I'm going to focus a little bit more because I want to show you guys I can't tolerate 2 losses in the day, and I can't surely tolerate 2 back-to-back losses, and surely don't tolerate 2 losses in a week, 2 red days in a week. So that kind of thing doesn't happen to me, and so we're not going to let it happen anymore. So I know it happened. We had a rough day in the room. I take full responsibility for that because I didn't flip short like a goofball. So anyways, let's go ahead. I want to show you exactly the trade that I took. And this was my second loss of the day. I told you the high that I bought when we came back in. I actually bought this sweep. And I said right here, it's my favorite trade, right? So I told you guys, this is my plan. I trade my plan. I took this trade. We did the actionable setup. We played the 75.02. It's my favorite setup on the map for the long, right? So this might, we played this. I wanted to reclaim yesterday's low at 06, right? And get back above 10 and then squeeze into 27, right? So we got real close. We played 02. We got back above yesterday's low. We got back above 10, but we never squeezed up. And so when we came down and we made a new low, I was done. I tapped out. I basically told everybody in the room it's over with. 2 losses in a row for me is 1 too many. So I just wanted to show you guys, I'm not flawless, right? It happens to me too. And I just wanted to be transparent with you guys. So, either way, the plan plays amazing because here's another trade that worked great, right? So after we ended up pushing way down, as you can see here, we had the only untested support below. We had the 76 level that wasn't exactly like my favorite here. But, I even said, be cautious. We want to see it play and get back above 81, which is this white level here, right? Get back above 81.75, get above the put wall at 84. That's the gray level that you can barely see here, but it's there, right? And for a potential squeeze, taking profits at 92, which is this red level, check, right? Because we got above this, the 81, check, profits at 92, check, more profits at 10, check, final profits up here at 75.27 for the big checkarooski. So, this is just how it is. If I would have taken 3 trades, I would have made this work. I took 2. So that was just me today. I mean, again, the trade plan was exactly right. You guys know we have been short all stinking week. all week. And then, of course, I said they broke my ankles here. So the trade plan was right. I executed it poorly. I'm willing to admit that. It is what it is. And as you can see, we still go. The trade plan still works great. You still get the love. We ultimately have to pull the trigger. Thanks, TR. It's true. But the thing is, bro, I just want to be transparent with you. You know what I mean? Because every day I get on here and I'm like, oh, we fucking killed it. Oh, woo, woo, right? Guess what? We didn't kill it today, or at least I didn't. I know there's some guys in the room that, they were able to think faster than me. I'm entertaining 50 people in the stream instead of trading, and I didn't get short. And some of these guys are a little bit faster than me, so they had good days. But with that being said, we'll fix that. But, it is what it is. All I'm saying is that every day I get on here like a hype man and I say, oh my God, it was amazing. And yes, the trade plan played good, but at the same time, the trade plan could be amazing. If you don't execute it properly, then none of it matters, right? So with that being said, I just wanted to show you that I'm human too. This happens to me as well. And so, on to the next one, right? Monday's a new day. So here's what I wanted to show you guys. Check this out. So I know this is a messy chart. I was literally doing this as the pre-stream thing was on. So I wanted to show you this. So this is the three pivots: 73.75, 75.27, and 74.92.50. You guys remember this is the breakout above. What do we actually call it here? It's the breakout above, the breakout ceiling, the true midpoint pivot, and the floor. Okay. So I just wanted to show you how this worked. As you can see, we popped our head in. We broke out above it. And once they got back beneath it, it was over. Then we had the midpoint pivot. Look at 27. Look how many times it held. They couldn't get through the 42, but look how many times it held. And then what happened when we got below it? The moment we got below 27, this thing just gave it up and came all the way down to 74.92. Now, did they poke below 74.92 a little bit? Yeah, they did. They absolutely did. But as you can see, once they, hit our spot and reclaimed, they basically used it for support once again, and they've come back up. So, this is, this is it. Yeah. Honestly, so I am going to, PK, I'm actually going to do this. We're going to have a little discussion in the room. Rob's going to MC for me and field some questions. And I'm just going to, you guys are there to make money and to trade. And I feel like I let you guys down today. I just had a lot of going on. And I think it's time that I turn down the talking and turn up the trading. Right. And so I'm going to let Rob field some questions. I'm going to put a video out for the room. Listen, we crush it every single day, almost every day. But again, when I have days like this that I know it could have been prevented in the room, I feel bad. And so my apologies. And, we'll get it next week. So anyways, with that being said, I don't have 2 losing days in a week. And I did this week. And it's hurting me in here a little bit. So we're going to get it fixed. So that's basically it, guys. That's it for the plan. Let's talk about the market, though, because I truly think that this thing is cooked, right? And I'm going to show you exactly where kind of everything, comes together. And so let me go ahead and share this right now so we can get into this, and then we'll break here for the holiday. And again, this chart's going to be a little messy. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this and just to kind of show you. So check this out. All right. This is what I believe. All right. And we'll see how this plays out. Let me pull up my pen here so we can have a serious discussion. Thank you, PK. I try, dude. It's a one-man band around here. And I called Rob and I was like, dude, you got to help me out. Like, I got to focus more. The whole thing that I'm building depends on me performing every day. It's tough. That's a tough deal. So I got to focus. You know what I'm saying? So no trade plan for tomorrow. Correct. So the markets are actually closed. Okay. The stock market is closed. Futures are open till 1. I'm not interested in that. That we will get price action tomorrow, but I can assure you that anything that happens tomorrow will be retraced on Monday. It's just how it works. Okay. So let me see my pen here. Okay. So here we go. All right. So this right here is our leg down. Okay. This is what we were short in the room yesterday. As you guys know, we sat here short and I kept saying, this thing needs to fall. Like if it doesn't fall, I'm going to have to find Jesus and find a new religion because I can't figure out what's going on here. Right. And we ended up falling for sure. We got 50 points out of this yesterday. That's what it ended up paying. Okay. And then they made their second attempt up here, which was actually the third attempt on SPX, which was interesting. But regardless, the second attempt for ES. And now we have officially not gained again. And we didn't just close up here, guys. Now we closed below 27. We all know how important 27 is. We held 27 like our life depended on it many times, including today when I showed you all those tests from the bottom side. I wasn't so certain they were going to let that thing go today, but they did, of course. And look where we closed. We closed below it. More weakness, okay? More weakness. So I can clearly see that. That's pretty obvious. So that's our first big kicker, right? So we've tried to come up here. We've tried to close so many times. They can't get it done. And now we've just lost on the 4 hour. So the 4 hour failed to gain 68. This is our true leg down here. They had multiple attempts. They tapped it once, got above it twice, got well above it the third time, and ended up failing. It could not close above 68. This is a death sentence, in my opinion. And now we have two big major areas of resistance here for this for ES, excuse me, on the 4 hour time frame. We have 75.42, which is actually a daily level. I'm going to have to look and see if it looks to me like it's untested right now. So, but we'll, I'll rechart for you guys anyway. But the real area that I'm looking at is this was what I was showing you. You see this daily here at 75.55. This is very much untested. And we have a 4 hour level also at 75.61. This is going to be huge for us, okay? And the reason I say that is because you guys know right now we've got this massive spot here, right? We got 68 to 74, basically like this whole area that we continue to keep smacking, right? This is what we lean on, right? So we're going to short this whole area, 61 to 55, okay? We're going to short this whole area. If this whole area plays, we come down. This is our first target right here. But more than likely, we're going to get way down here, if not here, okay? Because all this shit's tested. It's all wiped, every bit of it, okay? And now we've lost on the 4 hour, and we haven't gained on the daily. So now the 4 hour has to close above 61, basically, and really 68, but 61 would be a good start. But it's going to have a hell of a time doing that with 55 and obviously this 4 hour untested area here. So this is going to be an excellent trade, in my opinion. I am now officially still, of course, I say officially, I've been short. I've basically been short all week, as you guys know. I kept saying, I just don't think this is going to do it, right? Like I said, today, this little pop up here broke my ankles. They Kobe'd me. They did the crossover. And then, but other than that, that's it. So all signs right now are pointing more down, which would be great. We actually still have some stuff to fill in here on the weekly to kind of balance things out a little bit. And, look at this. This is just crazy. And what's funny about this is we balanced on Tuesday, Wednesday. This is our massive day on Thursday. And we are still literally in Tuesdays and Wednesdays range, which is just crazy. So we are just kind of we're going nowhere fast in a sense. But, I do think we're going to get a move here real soon. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys joining me today. This week actually has been stellar. The trade plans have been amazing. Like I said, my execution was subpar this week, but we'll get her fixed. And, so congratulations to all those who took advantage of the amazing trade plan, because we've really had some spectacular calls, including the high yesterday, which was phenomenal. So anyways, thank you guys for joining me this week. Again, no trading tomorrow, no trade plan tomorrow. If you want to trade, be my guest. I'm not interested. I'm going to take my son to Chicago and he wants to do a little whatever. So I'll be back on Sunday and we'll get that out. And then, of course, again, next week, we'll do it all over again. We'll conquer these markets. We don't let one day get the best of us. We just brush that shit off. We know the numbers are in our favor. So with that being said, I'll see you guys Sunday and I'll see you bright and early on Monday. Cheers and have a good weekend.